Joining us today. I hope you've had a great week. We're going to continue in the Gospel of Luke. We're in Luke chapter 7 today. Luke chapter 7. Open up your Bibles and read along with us. Mark?
Luke chapter 7, beginning in verse 1, when he had concluded saying all this to the people who were listening, he entered Capernaum. A centurion's servant who was highly valued by him was sick and about to die. When the centurion heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish elders to him, requesting him to come and save the life of his servant. When they reached Jesus, they pleaded with him earnestly, saying, "He is worthy of you to grant this, because he loves our nation and has built us a synagogue." Jesus went with them, and when he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to tell him, "Lord, don't trouble yourself, since I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. That is why I didn't even consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed, for I too am a man under authority, having soldiers under my command, to say to this one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes, and to my servant, do this, and he does it." Jesus heard this and was amazed at him. And turning to the crowd following him, he said, "I tell you, I have not found so great a faith even in Israel." When those who had sent returned to the house, they found the servant in good health. Afterward, he was on his way to a town called Nain. His disciples and a large crowd were traveling with him. Just as he neared the gate of the town, a dead man was being carried out. He was his mother's only son, and she was a widow. A large crowd from the town was also with her. When the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said, "Don't weep." Then he came up and touched the open coffin, and the pallbearer stopped. And he said, "Young man, I tell you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to speak, and Jesus gave him to his mother. Then fear came over everyone, and they glorified God, saying, "A great prophet has risen among us, and God has visited his people." This report about him went throughout Judea and all the vicinity. David, what do you see?
In those first 10 verses, we're pointing toward this man, the centurion. And what an exemplary man he was. I mean, it talks about really his concern for people. He had regard for one of his servants. Even his community recognized him, that he was generous and that he even loved people who were not like himself. He loved the Jews. He loved the nation. But Jesus makes a comment about this man. He said, "I've not seen such great a faith in all of Israel." And he didn't remark about any of those other characteristics. He remarked about his humility. He says, "I'm not even worthy to come into your presence." And he recognized Jesus' authority. And I think that's just a lesson for us, how God regards those who are lowly. Someone once said, God never sends anyone away empty except those who are full of themselves. And it's just a reminder of the value of humility and how God regards those who are lowly and contrite of heart. Even if you're great in the eyes of anyone else, if you see yourself with a humble attitude and service to God, God will fill you up.
Yeah. I'd point out what drives all of this as well as what we always see with Jesus, and that's his compassion. In verse 15, he sees the lady, and she doesn't approach Jesus. She doesn't ask Jesus. Jesus initiates what happens here. Jesus was driven, verse 13, by his compassion for her. And I think that's a beautiful model of the whole process of salvation. We're not saved because we come to God and ask God to save us. We're saved because God had compassion upon us and initiated the whole process. And that then allows us to come to him. But compassion is such an incredibly divine characteristic and such a necessary one for us today. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope that was helpful to you. Maybe you've got some comments you'd like to add. Throw those in our Facebook comments below. We'd love to hear from you. You have a great day. God bless and take care.